Hello everyone, in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to play different footstep sounds depending on the ground type using iStep. And here I have opened the iStep demo that is included with iStep. And first of all we have to change something. So if you select your amateur, your player amateur, and you scroll all the way down to the foot.ik script, under the events section where the sounds or the default sounds are being played, you have to change this to FX player and to the dynamic play. You need the dynamic play instead of the static one if you want to recognize the ground. So let's change this and let's change this too. So to make sure it was changed, yeah, it was changed. And this is for the footstep sound. So here I have configured this footstep sound, which is an FX player game object. I have different FX player game objects here that also do something, but right now we only care about the sounds. So here something has been already configured to play some default sounds, and we are going to change it to play other sounds as well. So to do that and to test it, let's take this cube, let's make it a little bit bigger. And let's give it a tag. I'm going to give it the respawn tag. That's just the first tag here. You can of course create your own tags and use whatever tag you want. Now that we have the tag, let's go back to the footstep sound. Player amateur footstep sound. This is the one configured to play something. And first of all, we are going to say that these sounds, the default sounds, should only be played when the tag is untagged. So let's check if this works. So here we should hear the sound, and here we should not hear it. Sound, no sound. So the first step is done. We have differentiated between this object and the rest, more or less. So let's configure a sound for this type. To do that, we will just add a new element here. Click the plus button. We got this. Let's make sure we have about the same settings. So in general, I have here this delay. Play the sound. I have it here. Of course, you could set this to 0 as well and configure the delay for playing the sound here. This is then for all events, but I have configured it a little bit different here. You can also have delay 0 depending on your game, but here I need some kind of delay. And in the untagged, we write respawn. And we need some audio as well. So let's add some audio. I created here a folder with some different audios. So let's add them. One more. So we got the audio added with a different sound. And now let's check if the correct footstep is being played. And you see it changes footstep sounds depending on the surface. So that's one example how to do that. And you can also filter by other things like layers. And you can also change layer tag, layer end tag, depending on what you want to configure. And there's one other thing that you can also set up, and that's to play sounds on the terrain depending on your terrain textures. So we are going to look at this as well. And to do that, down here you have play terrain texture events. Here we have no events right now, but we are going to add one. So let's add one. And we are also going to filter. You always need some kind of filter for this to work. And here the filter needs an index. And the index is the texture. Index which is going to be recognized, and the sound going to, and using the sound that needs to be played. So texture 0 means if I select this here and I go here and I'm here in the paint texture mode, that's index 0, and the more layers you have, the higher the index is going to be. So if I add a new layer, let's do that, create a layer. I'm just going to use that, it doesn't really matter. Let's make it a little bit smaller. If I select the layer, paint here, this thing here is going to be index 0, and this is going to be index, this is going to be index 0, and this is going to be index 1, of course. 0, 1. So let's configure this as well. So let's go back to the Footstep Sounds. I added the effect here with filter 0, and we want to play an audio clip event. So let's add one, and we need some audio to play. Or we are going to let it empty for now. And we also should not forget that this is configured to the untagged. So let's put it to some layer that doesn't interfere with the other layers that also play sounds. So only sounds connected to the right layers are being played and connected to the right indices of the terrain texture. So I just going to put it to some layer. Let's take the finish layer. It doesn't really matter which layer. It just should not be any of the layers from before. So it should not be the untagged, and it should not be the respawn. Otherwise it's going to play these sounds as well, because this would recognize it as a valid ground. So here we can remove this. We actually, in this case, we don't even have to write finish here, because if I don't write anything, it's not going to filter by tag at all, but it's still filtering by that on the terrain, so we will be fine. So in this case, I'm not going to play any audio. So let's see if it doesn't play any audio if I go on the terrain. So no audio is being played. That's good. So let's stop that. And we are going to add some audio now. And I'm going to add, let's take just one of this for testing. So I added this one. Also, let's put the same delay from before. And let's see if it plays the sound, but only on the index 0, which is this one. So it does play the sound, and here it does not. So index 1, it's ignoring, and to index 0 it's reacting. So let's stop that, and now let's add one more element. And here we add also a filter, but here we write 1. So now we want the red layer to react, and we add the audio clip, and we also write the delay here, and we need some audio. And for this let's take the jump. It doesn't really matter in this case, because I'm only going to show you for this tutorial if a different sound is going to be played. And I made one mistake. We have to remove the untagged here. As you hear, different sounds are being played depending on the terrain texture. So actually that's it for this tutorial. You can look a little bit more to the other settings that are available if you want. For example, right now all the sounds I was playing, I played at this transform target, but you can also use a separate foot. But if you want to do that, you have to create 2 of these effect players, one for the left foot, one for the right foot, and then you have to configure it correctly which one to play on the left and which one to play on the right event, footstep events configured here. So I did not do that, and that's why I did not configure to play it at the foot position, but I just say play at this transform position, which is, if you are interested, which is the 0 position here, where my gizmo is. So yeah, I hope this tutorial helps you out to play correct sounds, and see you until next time.